Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm Gorilla Casting from The Grove in Los Angeles, California, and this is your Wednesday Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, stepº24. And it's Wednesday, December 16th, 2015, and the sun today has progressed to step 24, Sagittarius. And hello, I am on a light walk today out in public, kind of incognito right now. I've got a selfie stick out. But, in LA, you can actually be fined. I don't know. I'm waiting to challenge the law. It's like, who says I'm doing a TV show? This is for my friends at home, right? But technically, if that was a crew or I had a tripod, I'd probably get a little bit in trouble. And we are marching down. In fact, Christmas is coming, as you can see behind me. But for you might have a bit of a surprise, some sort of a present or surprise in the next 24 hours, and that's because step 24 rules today. The magic number of surprise there is the 4. So let's give you a little forecast for your day and do today's daily vibe. Today I'm predicting cloudy and spiritual for most of the collective. That's because we're going to be inward and the moon is actually in Pisces. So when the moon's in Pisces, people are really going inward. It's more of a spiritual moon. That means in the beginning degrees or for the first half of today, probably doing a lot of forgiving, a lot of forgetting, a lot of letting go of old stuff, old trespassers, that sort of thing. And that's really necessary because step 24 is about where you feel, step 2, belong, 4, where you feel you belong, 2, 4, all right? So if your feelings are gummied up with old crap and your feelings are still processing your ex or your feelings are off somewhere else, you're not going to feel where you actually belong. Some people, however, have to feel where they don't belong before they discover where they do belong. So, you might be on that path. But we're at step 24. People should really be feeling where they belong. So for the first half of today, you want to let it go, let it flow. Forgive, forget. I have learned in my spiritual wisdom that forgiving and forgetting is not about the right and wrongs of life. It's simply that if you're holding on to anything, you can't go forward. It's that simple. So I look at forgiveness as like the clutch in a car. You want to shift gears, you got to put in some forgiveness. You want to manifest, gratitude is the attitude of receiving, and these are basic principles that work. So it's a cloudy and spiritual day mostly because we are releasing, letting go of what no longer belongs in us. But on the forefront, Venus is at step 13, which means we are opening up to a whole new set of rules. So if you've made some decisions that you believe in a certain this and a certain that, really what we're doing is starting to carry out those beliefs now. As we move towards Capricorn, we'll start making decisions based on these beliefs. But today, as we are now, we're just opening up to the repercussions. So it's like, well, if I believe I'm going to join this cult, well, then that means I need to get some swim trunks because I'm going down to south of the border. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, I'm trying to think of something random that won't offend anybody. But, at the end of the day, whatever beliefs we start to believe in have consequences. And today we're opening up to what those consequences might be. Now, Mars is at step 19. That means whatever you do today, you're manifesting your own partnership or relationship to yourself. So you, by taking steps for yourself, you're setting a precedent. And because of where Mars is in Libra, you're really setting a precedent for yourself. So in some cases, it's not even about getting what you want. It's about setting the precedent and saying to yourself, hey, in the new me, Ridge, we don't let that stuff go by. I don't care that I couldn't have gotten this or that out of the situation. I needed to just put it out there in the universe that I am not going to be that person to myself anymore. So there's a lot of, let's say, ritual behavior right now with oneself, and that is really developing that me ridge that we're going to be living in for some time, in my opinion, like the way we treat ourselves. Then the last thing I want to talk about in the daily dose is really where our mind is. Mercury has stepped up to step 10 today. That means our mind is on what we're manifesting next, and not just what we're manifesting next, but what we're manifesting next in the sense of what will bring us power. Now, we have an annual Pluto transit. I'll be talking about this, but when the sun crosses Pluto, people ritualistically let something die. Now, Pluto happens to be at the end of the year in Capricorn, so for the most part, I don't think humans realize that we're going through a Pluto transit at the end of the year, because every year we kind of have this feeling where we let things go and we let things die at the end of the year. But this year, I think it's a big death. In other words, people on New Year's Eve are really turning their back on some old stuff, and it all really backs up to this moment today and tomorrow, where you let the old stuff go and you let yourself go where you feel you belong. Now, if you have questions still and you don't know if you're making the right path, don't worry. We still have another 36 hours before you have to make any commitment, and tomorrow is going to be a very spiritual, psychic day. So there's some new information that might come in your dreams tonight, and you might also get information intuitively. But regardless, we are all heading out and moving forward here in the next 36 hours with a fundamental belief, and because Saturn's in Sagittarius, I argue this belief is going to take Dorothy out of Kansas. Just saying. All right, let's roll on to now today's topic in another locale that's indiscreet. I think there's like a trolley coming in here. So yeah, we'll be right back. Hello friends, here I am out and about at the Grove in Los Angeles, California. And we're going to do today's topic, which is actually going to be an extension of yesterday's topic. In fact, as we move through the end of Sagittarius and the sun crosses the galactic center in the next couple days, I'm going to be talking just about the angels because, for one, I was kind of asked and instructed that it was time to do this, and two, I'm going to release a series, like I said, of angel videos that you'll be able to watch over the holiday season. But most importantly, with the darkness going on in the world, I really want you to know from someone you might trust that angels do exist. In fact, the first most important thing for you to understand is that you must pray to them, as my story mentioned yesterday, because they will never interfere with free will. They have some sort of mandate to create or not to do that. Now, they will be very sneaky in their ability to kind of put reminders that they exist in front of your face or put situations in your life that tell you about it. But then it's still your free will to pray, to ask, and to, seek out help. Now, some interesting things I learned actually in my angel meditations, and I did it for weeks working with this angel reader. She was incredibly precise, basically stunned me with the things that the angels helped me with and knew, some very deep things. But one thing I found most interesting right off in the beginning was that the angels told me that God did not create the earth. The angels did. In fact, the dimension and the reality that we live in, apparently, this is just when I heard the psychic gossip cooler, but basically the world we live in was created and is maintained by the archangel realm. Their realm keeps this reality going. And what I found even more fascinating, and I was just completely blown away, was that the angels said that they did create Earth. On Earth, they created 12 races of man. Those 12 races are represented by the 12 signs. And those 12 signs are the 12 primary races and vibrations that humankind offers. All architected really by the angelic realm. What came to even a greater surprise was that I found out that angels rule signs. So there's basically an angelic ruler for every astrology sign. Now, I didn't bring my notebook out here today because I was thinking about this on the way and I realized, damn it, I think I wrote every one of these down. But some of the angels I'm not even familiar with, so when I actually got that they were the one, that ruled the sign, I was like, who's that? But I seem to remember, and, don't quote me on this yet, I'll get my notebook, but I'm pretty sure Archangel Michael watches over Scorpio. But what's interesting is I had no idea this is how it worked. Apparently the angels are the ones that keep reality going, and this is why the angels are the ones that have the power to alternate reality or create a, quote, miracle. It's because it's their minds that are holding together this fabric of a playground, basically, that we live in. Some other interesting things, I was stuck on a few major questions, and they answered my questions in profound ways. One time I was asking why I had such trouble finding what was true, like why I had a hard time finding truth in life, and da-da-da. And they come back and told me about who I was in a past life. They're like, well, you were this person in this past life, and in this past life, you believed all these things. And what's interesting is the person I actually was able to find on Wikipedia, because this person was not a big person, but a person that contributed, just like I've tried to contribute. And when I went to the picture on Wikipedia, the old guy kind of looks like me. Isn't that weird? So like, I've been through some weird stuff. The angels told me, go research this guy. This was you. Well, that's crazy. Now, I'm not going to give out who it was because it's my thing. You know, get your own angel reading. Find out what freak you were in a past life. Actually, I'm pretty proud of that one. But they also told me about another past life. And I have to say, both past lives were completely a surprise. Completely. And you might go, my mom used to say to me, well, you know, I don't know why knowing your past life is any good, because all it does is, you know, make life harder. It's like, well, I don't know. When I learned these particular past lives, in one case, I had learned that I was once a king, and I had lost my entire kingdom. And that made so much sense, because to me, Soul Garden has always been this big kingdom where I want to save everybody. You know what I mean? I have a Leo rising. I'm like, okay. And the point is the healing that I got from the angels was I could relax. Suddenly, I didn't need to be a king. Suddenly, I didn't need to be number one, because I had learned that I'd had this past. And even if it wasn't true, it helped me, right? So that was interesting as well. I learned about past lives by working with them. They healed some critical wounds. And the last little part that I'll share with you has to do with an illness. And it's funny because for my entire life, I've always been afraid of falling on a spike, like falling off of a fence on a spike or something, being impaled. And out of nowhere, they tell me that I was impaled in a past life on a spike. And I actually had a horrible infection happen to me in this life, in my left leg. And they told me that that's exactly where it was. So apparently, in my trauma, I had manifested a illness at the very place that I had trauma. So angels are all about helping, healing, aiding, and abetting to your glory and light. They love you. They're here for you. And they're interesting spiritual energies. We're going to learn a lot more here in the coming days, but I just want to take today's topic to talk about what's there for you. If you're stuck, try praying. It's been my experience. It actually works. All right, friends, let's wrap this up somewhere pretty. Well, my friends, that's all I have for today's show, but you know I will be back, as I always am, and I'll have the overhead projector when I come back. Couldn't do that feature here on the streets, but want to bring a little Christmas cheer to you, because after all, I am the Sensei, the serious joy, right? It's my job to bring a little love and joy to you, and I'm so grateful for you. Please do come on back in 24 hours, and remember, I am launching the Serious Joy Personal Sensei service on Friday, which means you could have me in your back pocket by Saturday morning. I'll have more details, but you can come down and sign up on my website at soulgarden.tv. You guys have an awesome 24 hours, and I'll see you back with more. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
SoulGarden.tv.
Oh, look at this. Yay!